take you on a journey through the lives of children in foster care and the impact it has on their education. Deficit thinking model. This model has been advanced to explain school failure, particularly amongst economically disadvantaged, racial and ethnic minority students. This theory refers to the thinking that students from low socioeconomic status backgrounds or minorities continue to be substantially overrepresented in relation to academic failures. For instance, reading below grade level, behavioural issues and high dropout rates. So what impact does this have on their education? Well, in relation to children in foster care, 23.7% repeat a grade at school, 60.2% had to change school at least once, and 18.1% were not attending school at all. And this puts them around 24 months behind their peers academically. Normalization in education. The principle of normalization is instrumental in service reforms for children with mental and other disabilities. Normalization calls for providing all the opportunities that all persons with disabilities which are available to a non-disabled person in society. The normalization principle is a strong advocate of equality in education for persons with disabilities. So, in relation to children in foster care, how can this affect them? Well, it can affect them in various ways. For example, changing schools, starting all over again, constant changing and psychological trauma, and effect of different emotions. Assumptions could be made about them being disengaged or not interested and even damaged, when really actions were as a result of them feeling alone, misunderstood, frustrated, unheard, and powerless. School is not just an education, but it sets children up for life. Feeling isolated and alone at school at such a young age can have lifelong consequences. Neoliberalism is where education is marketized and seen as a commodity. Market ideas of scarcity, access, competition, and profit dictate education reform efforts. This notion of marketization of education has led to the exacerbation of existing school division surrounding class and race. So what does this mean? It refers to inequality in education. For example, the richer kids whose parents are in the highest occupation group continue to excel and exceed academic expectations, whilst on the other hand, students whose parents are unemployed or have minimal educational attainment perform poorly in academic testing, such as the NAPLAN. In reference to children in foster care, depending on what educational attainment foster parents or families have, will ultimately influence their academic aspirations. For example, the lower socioeconomic status parents are, well, the more poorly they will perform. And the higher the socioeconomic status they are, the higher they will perform. The lower socioeconomic status in foster care, the more serious implications it has on their schooling and later in life. For example, health, so this can relate to obesity. Secondly, higher incarceration rates, especially amongst Indigenous Australians. Thirdly, minimal economic participation, so relying more on welfare payments such as Centrelink. And lastly, low literacy and numeracy skills. The United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child Article 28 states, "Every child has a fundamental right to equal opportunity in education." Through my community service experience at the Greater Western Sydney Giants, I witnessed firsthand a club-led initiative called Giants Care. This initiative is dedicated to enriching the lives of communities in Western Sydney through the delivery of meaningful and relevant social programming focusing on 4 key areas of health, harmony, education and employment. I believe this is a fantastic initiative that will definitely assist a child's development, especially a foster child, as well as an inclusive teaching philosophy incorporating the following points.